Welcome to episode 9 of Fountain Hills Theater's Broadway Quarantine Cabaret, a fun virtual series where we give back to all of our supporters with free shows every weekend. This series will feature Fountain Hills Theater staff and performers, as well as many of the Valley's top entertainers, live from their homes. Plus, we'll have a few featured Broadway performers along the way. Now, we don't want you to miss any of our upcoming shows, so please, if you're watching live, please hit that little red subscribe button on YouTube, or you can follow us on our Facebook page. Follow the bit.ly link listed on our posters. We truly want to thank everyone who has during our show. We truly appreciate your generosity. Okay, let's get on with tonight's quarantine cabaret. Hello, everybody. We have a little technical difficulties, but I think we're back on the air. Does anyone see me out there? Anybody? Sorry about that. I am Fountain Hills Theater Executive Director Michael Wallot, and I will be your host for tonight's Broadway Quarantine Cabaret. Tonight, we're going to be diving into the evolution of what we all know as Fountain Hills Theater. I've only been in my position here about 6 months, and I really wanted to learn more about the history of the theater so I can be sure to honor that in my work here. So tonight we are going to be talking to some key players in the history of the theater. Up first is the lady who started it all. That would be Sandy McGee, our board president. She spoke to me earlier today, and she recorded a video for us. So we're going to get that video in 1 second. Hello, everybody. We are lucky enough to have the board president of our theater company, Fountain Hills Theater, and the founder of the theater joining us tonight to give us a little introduction on kind of how things all got started here. So if you will, please help me welcome Sandy McGee to the show. Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Good, great. Thank you. Thank you for accommodating my schedule and doing a recording.
No problem. No problem. We had to get the story right from the horse's mouth, as they say. I know you've got the real story behind what's going on here at Fountain Hills. So I'm excited to hear what your story of how things got started. So now, from what I understand, the theater started around 1986. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. I was doing a lot with my son around the Valley. He was acting all over the Valley with various theater companies. And I just kind of thought, why can't we do this local? At the time, I was working with Scottsdale Children's Theater, which is no longer in existence, with Debbie Norwitz. And we brought classes, youth theater classes out here. And we were doing them at Four Peaks Elementary School. And I just thought, well, why can't we do this here? So I started thinking about that and talking to people. And I hired Julie Hackman, a very talented performer and teacher in the Valley, to work with us. And we ended up doing great things with, very small scale, very, 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 very small scale. So then we started.
Where did you do the shows at? Or was you doing shows or classes at that point?
Classes, and then a few very small, royalty-free, obviously, shows at Four Peaks Elementary School.
Oh, at the elementary school. Okay.
And then I just decided to start forming a nonprofit. I was fortunate enough to know a lawyer, and we put together a small board. And at that time, I got a very fortunate phone call from Val Stasik. And she called me and said she was moving to Fountain Hills, building a home, and was interested in what we were doing and how could she be a part of that. And my first immediate thought, to be honest, was, oh, thank God, somebody that knows what they're doing. Because, I had no theater experience whatsoever other than my son's experiences.
How old was your son around this time?
Oh, he was probably 7, 8, 9 in there. And so Val came on board, and we had this great board of members, of which 3 of us are still around. Patsy Johnson, who is been involved from day one and does makeup and hair a lot, and then Val and myself. So we got together and we started doing what we did, which was only like a couple of shows a year, like 1, 2, 3 at the most. And so at that time, we then got moved to McDowell Mountain Elementary School, which was great. And much more space, much better ability to perform there. And we actually moved in to start doing adult theater as well. Our first show was A Christmas Carol.
Oh, wow.
I remember the Pataks, who were big family here in Fountain Hills. Roland Patak was Scrooge. And we just had a ball. We had lots of things going on. And then it became necessary for me to move away. I actually ended up moving out of state.
Wow.
That time, I think it was like 89, somewhere around there. I moved away, and I handed the theater over to the very capable hands of Val Stasik, who brought the theater then to what you see, a full-blown theater company doing many, many performances, youth, adult drama, musicals, etc. They actually got a buildings that we now perform in today. Right. And so that's what took off. She did an incredible job. You can't even imagine my surprise when I came back many years later. What I saw, I was just stunned. It was great. Wow. So at that time, I asked if I could be a part of it, if I could come back and help out. And so I've been a board member for 13 years. I've been lots and lots of committees. And I'm now president of the board. This is, it's been a while that I've been doing that. I filled in as interim executive director at one point. Val had retired. So things have evolved and been fantastic. Great jobs.
Wow. Well, that's such an interesting story. I wanted to hear it from you and kind of see what was in your mind back then. It's always interesting to me to find the history of places, which is kind of why I'm doing this tonight. I'm fairly new to the theater. I've been around a couple of years, and I know there's 30 years of history here, so we're excited the rest of tonight to talk a little bit more about how things evolved after you created the theater. And I'm so glad you could join me here for a few minutes and share the origin story with everybody.
Yes, I'm more than happy to, and I applaud all the hard work that's been done, volunteers, everybody, crew, actors, everybody. It's just been an incredible experience, beautiful work. And I look forward to seeing where you're going to be able to take it to, Michael. I mean, we're kind of in a dire situation right now with the pandemic, but we will get through this. We've gotten through worse, and I know you'll take it to bigger and better things.
Thanks. Thanks for your vote of support. I'm really excited to see what we can do when we can get back open, get these doors open again.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you hopefully sometime soon. We're going to get out of this house and get back to the theater.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Sandy, for that little history of the start of the theater. And that was just a few clips and pictures from the beginning, kind of a quick fast forward to now that were provided to me by our next guest here, who is one of the original founders of the theater as well. She's been here since pretty much the very beginning, and was the executive director for many, many years. Retired a few years ago, but she's got lots of wonderful stories to go along with these pictures, I'm sure. So I'm going to bring the lovely VAL STASIK on with us. There she is. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. What was it like going down memory lane there for a minute?
That was really awesome. I'm impressed, Michael. Thank you.
Good. I could see everybody backstage watching, and I thought, those are some good memories for these people, huh?
They are. Gosh, when I was going through some of those pictures, it was hard to select and hard to choose which ones were back there, you know, and we've done so much. We've just done so much.
It's pretty awesome. I'm so glad you could join us and give me a little of the background of the theater. Tell me how did you find Sandy in the first place? How did all that come together that you joined the theater?
Well, actually, what happened was my mother and father were living here, and they moved to Fountain Hills, and they saw an article in the paper about a small show. I think it was Richard Rococo and the Cocoa Bean that that Sandy and her son were doing in conjunction with Associated Children's Theater of Scottsdale. So my mom called me, and she was always my pusher and my support. And she said, call this woman, because you're building a house. Come on out here, get involved. I had my degree in theater, and it was something I loved. So so I did. I called Sandy and I said, I'd really like to get involved. And I got on the on her board of directors at the time. Like she said, there were only about 4 or 5 of us, and we had the theater going. And she looked into getting the nonprofit and the incorporation papers going, and those concluded after she had moved away, unfortunately. But yeah, so she moved away in 88, 89, somewhere in there. And she left a box of goodies on my front door, and there I was. I had to take it up.
What did you think? Did she kind of hand it like, hey, do what you want to do with this? I'm out of here.
Yeah, here's the paperwork up till now. Boom, in a box.
Wow.
And and I said, okay, I can do this. This is exciting. So I want to say thank you to Sandy. She said some very nice things about me, and I do appreciate that very much. I remember when she did move back to town, I ran into her at the gas station, and she was pleasantly surprised with where I had brought her image, her vision. So anyway, so in 1989, I took over as president, and we expanded the board and got to work and started raising some money. And at that time, I don't think we had $500 in the bank or something.
Wow.
And, yeah, it was pretty scarce. And we were at the school. And
did you have your nonprofit status yet?
No, that came in 89, late 89, April of 89. Okay. So that's when we actually got the nonprofit, and we were Fountain Hills Community Theater at the time, which later got changed to Fountain Hills Theater. But yeah, so I between my family, it was a family affair. You saw pictures of my sister Ginny. Yeah. My sister Vanessa designed that beautiful artwork from the beginning, of the fountain.
Yeah, we still use it on our programs.
That's right. That's her artwork, and actually there are prints of those around, and then she also designed our logo, which is still being used, and she did a lot of our sets. So Vanessa was very involved. Ginny was very involved, and my sister Rena did all the bookkeeping for us and kept it, because she's an accountant. And then of course my parents were always cheering and yelling in the audience. So matter of fact, one of the first shows we did was Little Abner, and that was special request from my mom and dad.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
How many shows a year were you doing back then?
We were doing between 2 and 3, depends on the magnitude of it. The first royalty one we did was Godspell, and we went out and begged, borrowed, and stole to get the royalty money for that. And the first grant we got was from Boeing, and that bought us our spotlight, which I don't know, we have to ask Peter, but I think we still use it. But so when we got grants, it went towards whatever it was that we were asking for, and in that case, it was a spotlight. So yeah, so then we just started having fun and doing shows and associating with a lot of wonderful people. Gregory J, who a lot of you know, and it's quite a history of people that have crossed our threshold and helped us on this journey, and then when I found out that the town old library was going to be repurposed or given up, it was a town building. That's when I started. It was the first mayor, John Cotillo, and I started kind of negotiating with him and going, "Hey, John, how about letting us have that building?" And he worked it out. So that's when we moved into what is now the Children's Theater.
Okay. Well, when was that? Around what time?
In 1995, I think.
Okay.
And, at that point, we had spread our wings a little bit. We stopped using everyone's backyard to store props. I I had all the costumes in my basement, all the phone calls, all the reservations, everything came to my house.
Wow.
So yeah, it was all here, and it was all volunteer, completely volunteer. There was no such thing as a salaried person at that point. We broke down and got a storage unit so that we could get out of people's lives, and that's and so that was good. We got a good deal on that, and a lot of good friends and a lot of good people in this community that just saw the benefit of having what we had to offer. And then the shows increased. We did a lot of wonderful productions, and went on to grow. And the town started giving us some funding, which was just really needed. And then we had a roundtable luncheon thing with the board one day, and between Bloody Marys and everything else, we were all talking about well, what is next? We're going to get this building, and at that point, Peter had started to direct for us, which is a story of its own, and I'll let him tell that. But so, and he was amazing. Of course, he lived in Phoenix, but I just so we decided, you know what, let's get him on board. And so in 1996 is when we actually hired Peter on a part-time. He had a little theater going at Copper State, and so he was working part-time for us as of 1996, and hasn't left since. He right, Peter?
There he is.
Hello.
Hi, Peter. I figured if we're talking about it, we should.
I'm really horrible at dates.
I'm cheating.
You got some cheat sheets. So, Peter, what was the first show that you came out here and did before you the artistic director and all
The first
that?
show I came out to do was Little Shop of Horrors.
1992.
Thank you. And I know that they had a director in place who disappeared, and that literally they found his car out in the desert and no hide nor hair of him. So somebody in the cast knew me and asked me if, would I be interested in coming out and directing out there? And I took the drive out to meet Val and realized that I had to pack a lunch because it was such a long trip. And
there was no 101 or 202.
No, and Val knows the story. I knew what they were paying out here for directors, and so I quoted her a price that was out of their reach, because I didn't want to have to make the trip. And damned if Val didn't say, "Oh, okay," and I'm so glad she did, because it started obviously a long time relationship between the theater and, more importantly, with Val. It's been a wonderful place to work. And then in 96, I came over, was hired there I was the only employee. So I was in the theater building sets with the box office phone in my back pocket. So while I was building sets, I would answer the phone and take reservations. Sometimes we had people come in. Linda would come in, Val would come in, and would spell me on the box office. But a lot of times it literally was me.
Vanessa would come in too and sit.
Vanessa would come in. Yeah, lots of people came in to help. But it was we were all working really hard at this. I think the first show we did in the library, the former library place, was Rumors, wasn't it?
Rumors, right. We were in the library when we did King and I, but we did that at the school.
The performance was at the school, right?
But we were already in the library.
Right.
Library. So you got
the library is the main stage too. The smaller, what's now the smaller space, right?
Yeah,
correct.
First permanent space, that was just that building.
Yeah, the community center is where our main stage is now, and that was where they held weddings and parties and banquets. And Peter, tell them about Romeo and Juliet. Do you remember it all?
We did a wonderful. I think you're talking about our guest, the guy who waved.
No, there was a wedding going on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there was a wedding. No, you go ahead and tell that story. You remember more about that than I do.
cracked me up. There was a wedding going on in the community center, which is now the main stage, and we're at the dagger scene, you know, and oh, brief, be good, you know, and all of a sudden we hear celebrate good times, come on, and it's all coming right through the walls. They're singing celebrate while we're killing each other inside. And it was pretty hard to keep a straight face. Yeah, that was not a good marriage. The theater.
Yeah, it got a little loud out there on occasion.
Oh boy, the Macarena. They were doing the Macarena. It was something during Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet meets the chicken dance.
Exactly. Oh gosh.
So then it was about around 2000. Is that kind of when you took over the community center part? Is that right?
The community center. Let me see. When did we get? No, that was 2003.
2003.
Yeah, 2003. Gypsy. That was when we actually moved in. So we started getting grants and getting people to support us. And we had some wonderful help with that because we had a lot of major construction to do. And so we had Dennis Brown and Mike Archambault, and this community is amazing. This community is, I would never leave Fountain Hills unless, you know, I actually had to, which I don't. So anyway, yeah, 2003 is when we opened with Gypsy. We had some technical problems, but it was the grand opening, and then it was all ours.
You were still doing shows at the school, bigger shows at the school?
A couple of them. We did, I think we did King and I, and we did one other one. Maybe it was My Fair Lady, you think?
Might have been My Fair Lady that followed.
Yeah.
I think once we got past rumors and a couple of the transition in, we stayed in there, and because we were doing on that tiny little stage for those people. We did Camelot on that stage. We did Shenandoah. We did Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
I mean, these were huge shows. And little stage.
I can't imagine how you did it. Well, we just did Men of La Mancha, I guess, which is kind of big, but nothing compared to those.
Nothing compared to those. Yeah.
Fiddler's like a cast of, you know.
It was amazing that we were doing those shows on that tiny little space. I mean, people marvel at what we do now on our main stage, which is a little bit bigger than the other one, but the one next door, the youth theater, has no wing space. It has nothing. It's just a platform in the corner of a room. Yeah, Pippin was done in there.
Yeah. That was fun. Yeah. And then, you know, leading up to all of that, once we got that building and we got seats and all put in there, before the seats, we did some coffee houses, and Ross can tell you about Bully, which was one of those. But that's when we would have our powwows, and Peter and Noel, and we would sit around and then we would come up with all of these ideas. And so that's when, let's do a 7-show summer stock repertory. We'll get everybody involved. They'll do all the shows. And when they're not in the show, they'll do the tech.
That was the craziest summer, where I had a bunch of people saying, why don't we do summer stock? Why don't we do summer stock? And I said, okay, if you really like that idea, oh yeah, we love it. We love it. So I picked 5 shows, each of which had 7 performers. And I was going to bring in a group of 9 people. So there'd always be 7 performing and 2 running tech. And everybody would shift around. It worked out beautifully. Had it all out on paper. And then when it came time to actually do it, all those people went, oh, well, no, I can't do that many. I can't commit that much of my summer. No, I'm sorry. So suddenly we had already advertised that we were doing these 5 shows back to back.
Oh my gosh.
And we did them.
Yeah, we did.
I think you did them all.
Yeah, I did.
I did them all.
Yeah.
Lisa
Martina did
them all, yeah. But I mean, then the rest of them were just individually cast, or somebody might do 2 shows.
Well, yeah, people weren't willing to give up their entire summer like that. It was just too hard with them working and so on.
But they were when we planned it.
That was something. So we did that, and then we shrunk it down to a 3-show summer, and that was doable.
Yeah.
But that's when we also concocted summer camp, New York City, Big Apple Corps, right?
Yeah.
You know, we did a lot of good discussions.
We decided, well, this would be a great idea. So we created a summer camp where the kids came to class from 10 to 4 each day, Monday through Friday, that for 5 weeks, which ended in the production of a musical comedy where they all performed for a weekend. And then the following week was 5 days in New York City with the kids, Val, Noel, me, running
Anybody
around,
else could
seeing,
get sucker into being a chaperone.
seeing all the sights, Now we did that for about 9 years, I think, altogether. And after the 9th trip to the Statue of Liberty, she becomes less interesting after the 9th. But it was a wonderful program, yeah.
Yeah, the kids were more interested in South Street Seaport.
Yeah.
They wanted to go shopping.
They wanted to go shopping. Yeah.
We had
They would 5 shows. Yeah.
Yeah, we had Royce, Ross. We had a number of guys that came along, and Ross was with us for the last number of years. Once he got on staff, then he became the chaperone. But we had a
Speaking of,
So
here
here
we
we
go.
go.
The man himself.
Hey!
Oh,
Collins. Hey, Ross.
sorry, I'm just waking up here. Oh no,
we talked
fun
too
stuff.
much.
No, I'm learning a lot here. It's great.
Me too. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
Great. So, Ross, when
The,
did you come on board? What year was that? Do you recall?
2002 actually is when I came on board, and what I was doing at that point was kind of running the construction on the new main stage facility that we were going to be putting in there at the community center, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, and we got it all done though. Anyway, and at that point we wanted to open, if we could, in the 2002-2003 season with a musical or something, but we still needed to do it on the now youth theater, the library stage, and let's see, what was it? It was oh brother, come on, Ross, you can do this. It's just okay. Anyway, a great show that we did as a combination youth and Once Upon a Mattress, for the love of heaven. I can't believe I did that. And so we did that as a combo youth thing, and then we got permission to have occupancy in the main stage in time to do Gypsy, and that was really cool, and that was a lot of fun, and that was a real step in a positive way. It was great. Loved it.
Now, had the theater been doing children's theater on a regular basis before Ross came on board?
Yeah. We've been doing at least 1 or 2 shows a year for kids, not to mention the classes and workshops, after school classes, summer camps for all ages, not just the teens. So we had a lot of youth programs. Patty Torian kind of took those on as far as being the organizer of those. Yeah. And she was invaluable. She did all of the publicity for those and filled those classes pretty good. And
yeah, she did.
Yeah, she was great. She did all of our publicity, so she was pretty amazing. She was actually hired in the office in 2002 as well, because with the opening of the big theater and now a full-time youth theater with a new artistic director for the youth theater, we had our work cut out for us. So that's when copy machines and higher electric bills and a lot of things like that came into play, and we were starting to look like an actual business. It was pretty good. But then Ross took the bull by the horns in his new position, and the dedicated youth theater was one of them. But he created something, and Ross, you tell him about it, that was phenomenal, and went on and did some wonderful things with it, and that was the Ya Boy program. And that was the Young Actors Benefiting Other Youth program. And Ross, you should tell them about how that grew. That was amazing.
Well, it was something that I wanted to do back to the community for one thing, and try to find a nonprofit that I like to support the idea of, and that we could further their mission on. Anyway, what we would do is we would take a show that had relevance to these other nonprofits, and we would partner with them. And the idea was that kids can learn to be in a show, but you can also learn that there's other benefits of doing a show where you can help other people by being in that show. And I wanted to try and show that as a viable opportunity for them to expand out, learn about things. The first one we did was on the homeless youth. We did a show, I wrote a musical with Micaiah Dodge called Hansel and Gretel Runaways. And we partnered with Home-Based Youth Services. And there were some shocking things you learned, that in the city of Phoenix, in the Phoenix area alone, there's over 3,000 homeless youth out there that are wandering the streets, that have learned how to survive without any kind of benefit of a home life or whatever. And Home-Based Youth Services joined us, and they gave a speech to the cast, and the cast was allowed to look at meet some of the people. And it was interesting. They brought in a sheet of paper, and they said that this is a blanket, the newspaper. And they said, this is a blanket. And this is what the kids had to sleep under. And a lot of them were out there fishing in the ponds that are in the lakes that are throughout the town. And they were getting their meals that way. It's very interesting stuff. But anyway, moving forward, we then touched on teen suicide with Mumbly Peg, a show that we wrote. And Val graciously allowed us to do these things. They were kind of edgy and kind of, and being that they were original musicals by Micaiah and I, that was always a dicey proposition too. But she had faith.
They were important. It was an important statement. You touched on blind, you touched on anorexia and eating disorders, you touched on disabilities. You touched on so many important issues that, as an executive director, no, they weren't huge money makers. They had a selected audience, and hopefully more of the youth and the parents that would come. But that didn't matter, because our philosophy as a theater was always social, and it was do what's right and do what's good, and it's not always about the almighty dollar. And speaking of, we're really in trouble here, because the theater, is closed, so we're not bringing any. So if anybody wants to donate and help this theater continue the good work that it's done,
www.fhtaz.org.
right.
Click the donate button. No kidding.
Really, it's not the programs we offer, whether it's on main stage and doing. I mean, Peter, we've done shows that maybe we've done the Fiddler on the Roof. We've done all the ones that people really like and come back for. But then we've also done some more serious stuff that maybe people don't necessarily come out in droves, but it's important. That's the classics. And so Fountain Hills Theater was known for being able to produce a wide variety to keep everybody interested. And we got a great group. I mean, so yeah, Patty, as a matter of fact, we ended up having to bring on Stephanie McDonald as in the office, because it got really busy there. So in this was like 2005. So this is our family then.
Oh my
God, who are those young people?
Oh my God.
And Todd had joined us at that point because we needed IT. We were paying through the teeth for people to come in and keep fixing our computers. And so Todd came in and he did all of our purchasing and all of our IT. And so that was the 2005 family that kept this running. And then by 2008, we had Benoit. We have to mention Benoit. Am I in the picture?
Yeah.
There we go. Benoit,
Here's Allison.
Allison, yeah, Stephanie had left us and Allison took over and she's been with us since. And so everyone who has been involved with this theater from the get-go, from the beginning, has been fully committed, or should be. Has been fully committed, and the longevity of their tenures and the fact that they have complete say in how we grow, how we develop, the programs that we get excited about. That's what made this work, and that's what will continue to make it work.
Yeah, in 2008, there were some interesting things that happened. We were doing, like, 5 and 5, I think it was, 5 adult and 5 youth theater shows. And then, the crash happened. And Peter, why don't you tell us about your great idea?
This tells you seriously how dedicated the staff and the actors and the volunteers, everybody, are to Fountain Hills Theater. Because in about 2009, when we had that horrible crash and everybody was going broke, and we lost 5 theater in town. We lost Actors Theater Phoenix and Jewish Theater, and just all the biggies just folded. And I went to see Michael, and I'm not going to get his last name, who was the had been the head of the Kennedy Center, give a speech about what we could do during this during the recession. And he said, the last thing you want to do is cut. Give them more, give them more. That way they feel they're getting something for their dollar. And I said, okay, well, you know what? We're doing 5 shows a year in the youth theater, but they only do just so many shows, and there's these gaps. I have this idea that we should do something called Main Stage 2, TOO, and we'll do 5 more shows every year. And so I increased everybody's workload by 1/3, by 33%. And you got to know, there wasn't any money to increase any salaries or anything like that. And they looked at me like I had 2 heads for about 30 seconds and went, okay. And everybody got behind it. And now we're the place that does, 15 shows a year.
Yeah.
17 if you count them all.
17 if you count them all. If you count the summer as well.
Oh my gosh.
It was, and it really helped us with our cash flow issues and things like that. And it's what it keeps us alive. It keeps us running.
And it's the dedication of this community and the people that come out to our theater. People from Ahwatukee, people from all over the valley come to Fountain Hills Theater because we're intimate. Because Patty or Peter or once upon a time me would be standing there, giving them hugs, giving them handshakes, telling them that we're so glad they came. And they felt like they were part of, and I know I use this word a lot, but I don't care, family. And our theater was a family, not only the people that worked there, but the people that came. So when Peter increased all these shows, what happened? The people that were coming to these original 5 shows or 7 shows now started buying tickets to 10 shows. And it worked. It got us through. And it's pretty amazing.
We now produce more theater than any other single organization in town. We're it. Nobody produces more than we do. So
I think too.
Thanks a lot.
Quality theater, by the way. Quality theater.
And
every single show we do.
What makes it quality?
Absolutely. They're good.
What makes it quality? The reaction, the fact that when Peter comes to me and says, I need a fog machine. It really will help these scenes. And I don't have a pot to pee in. And I go, I'll get you the fog machine because it's the production that matters, which is my lead into 2 of our most beloved performers with us, I think. Right, Mike?
They are here. Before I get to them, though, we have lots of comments coming in from all of your fans that are out there that want to say hello. So I'm just gonna put up a few comments here. Matt McDonald is watching with his family.
Thank you for reminding me of Michael Kaiser's last name.
Yes, I just saw that pop up. Deborah Colter's out there.
Hi, guys. People probably wondering why the hell I'm here.
Friends.
It's the mayor herself.
Yeah.
Hey, Jenny. Thanks for catching our show tonight.
Greg J, Steve McClay. Yeah, that's
Yeah, those are some names. Oh man.
Kathy Donald's out there.
Hi, Jackie.
uh,
Hi, Mom.
Val was great in Sunset Boulevard.
I'm ready for my close-up now.
yeah,
And 12 Days.
oh,
Val was great in everything.
thank you.
That's great.
I love you, Matt. Oh, how cool.
Boy, did you send out checks before this thing, Val? So that
Right. Yeah, look at that. Ginny was expecting Frankie at 31. He's 31.
31. Wow.
She was the first Mrs. Cratchit. Hey, Dave, hi, baby. Oh, Mama Rose. Hey,
here, Matt.
Greg J. Love me some Greg J. She saw the picture.
Hey, while you're typing this stuff in, guys, just think about it. If you go to fhtaz.org and hit that donate button, you can help us to keep adding theater to the Valley and doing what it is that you love to watch us do.
Ginny, you were great at hauling that soda back and forth in the school.
Oh, the metal folding chairs.
Metal folding chair.
Sitting through.
Thanks, Jim. Okay.
Wonderful production, but it's 3 hours long on metal folding chairs.
And then we bought those little cushions
Yes.
on them. Those little blue cushions, which got really gross after a while. Jimmy, Mrs. Cratchit.
1987 for the first Christmas Carol, she said. So we got fact checking going on. We have in-stream fact checking going on here. So that's all right. So.
This is the Greg J.
Church, yeah.
This is Greg J. and Steve McClay. Steve is on now, but Greg, whoops. There we go. There's
I'm getting a little seasick, Val.
You're in the choir.
Julie Hackman. Oh, the foreigner at the church. Ah, remember that one, Peter?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
This is Roy, not Debbie. Hi, Roy. Roy did a lot of stuff with us too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
I
Deborah.
remember when Roy committed suicide as Bill Sykes. And the gun didn't go off when he was supposed to die at the end. In fact, instead there was just this sort of squishy, weird sound.
I know.
Roy suddenly staggered around as though he was shot
Yeah.
and then apparently threw himself off the London Bridge for no apparent reason.
I know. Well, I just remember getting a surprise after Nancy died, and only my feet were showing, and all I had left was a curtain call. Ross gave me a little surprise underneath the set.
I'm a good director. Come on. I take care of my actresses.
I started with an S and ended with a CH. I know too. Peter used to, cast me in, with the Boa and the Godspells and the Lamontas and the Nancys. And then that's what I've become, guys.
That looks like after a night of binging.
Oh, I know. That was my swan song. Not too sexy there. I don't know.
How many original shows have you written for Fountain Hills, Ross?
Oh, God. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I keep forgetting chapters. 4 musicals? 3 music. 4 musicals and five straight plays. I think 9 shows. How many have you done?
I love you, Deborah.
I think I'm
Huh?
at an even dozen. Actually.
Yeah, I think you.
Split between musicals and
Can't-
straight plays. Yeah, we actually get to do original work, which is very unusual.
Yeah, that's
In
great.
town, nobody does as many originals as we do. World premieres. It's fun.
Yeah,
Honey girl, yay, Jenny. Yeah.
Oh,
We did some good shows. We did a
There are a
lot.
lot of people out there watching us. Well,
That's awesome.
like you were talking about, we've got a couple of actors who've been doing shows here many, many years who are going to join in the conversation. We have Jesse Berger joining us
Yeah.
hey, Jesse.
hey Jess,
and Janine.
Hello.
I love you,
Hey,
Janine.
Nene.
Oh, I love you too. It's funny when you didn't know you were on screen and you looked up.
Yeah, because I didn't know I was on screen.
Oh.
Well, actually, I was drinking at the time, and so I don't know. Kidding.
Oh, am I allowed to be wearing this shirt, or am I giving like advertising to Disney that they're gonna sue me over? I don't know.
There's like, no, you don't have to worry. They're just going to sue us, Jesse, so it's okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
So Jesse, you told me your first show here was is it 99?
Well, I started rehearsal for it in '99. It actually opened in 2000. It was Jesus Christ Superstar. And yeah, that was not the first show that my family had done with Fountain Hills Theater. The first show there was actually in 1993. My father did Man of La Mancha. And that was, oh my gosh.
That was the one at the school, yeah.
That was at the school. That's right. I remember those chairs very well. My butt still remembers those chairs. Let's just go with that, shall we? No, he did that, and I came to see it, and then I didn't actually start doing things with the theater until I came back from Kansas City, which was '99. I auditioned for a few shows, got into Jesus Christ Superstar. I was playing Peter. I still couldn't grow a beard. I was 25 years old, and I couldn't grow a beard. I didn't have a shot at all of playing Jesus because you don't want to use a fake beard with Jesus. It just seems terrible. Anyway. So I ended up playing Peter in that show, and then I did shows. The last show I did for Fountain Hills was 2018. It was Country Jukebox.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's an 18-year stretch, and I'm probably not done yet. Let's be honest. I mean, I keep saying the right show always seems to bring me back. Full Monty and whatever that was, 2016 or 17, and then
It's Jesse.
oh,
Look at Jesse and me before I became an ugly old hag lady.
No, please.
oh please,
Yeah.
This
Michael,
ugly old hag lady.
if you would allow me to share my screen, I actually have a few photos of some of the shows that I was in. If you want to see them, they're kind of fun.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let me get it going here. Hang on one moment. There. Okay. Sorry. Let me do this.
Very high tech.
That's
All right. Can you see that?
No.
no, we're not seeing
That's why I
it.
printed them out.
You don't see anything.
No.
Oh, I must be doing something wrong. This is terrible. Can you see that?
No.
No.
No. Okay. I guess.
Video.
Oh, wait. Here we go. I got it. My entire screen. It's not letting me.
Aw.
All right. Well,
You could just pose.
I
in
guess
various
that's just not
positions
happening.
and claim.
It's got a little thing that says Jesse Berger's screen down at the bottom, but I can't seem to share it. It's just,
I
it's
see
got a
it,
little
I see
trash
it,
can.
see it.
Oh,
I
you
see
see it? Okay. Here we go.
Whoa.
Here we go.
Yikes.
There we go.
I remember that. Yikes.
Broadway jukebox.
Okay, so that's Broadway Jukebox. That's
Yeah.
me, Royce Briggs, and Denny McNamara, dressed up as the 3 ugliest women. Actually, Denny was kind of hot, but the other 2 of us, oh God, terrible, terrible women. So there's that. This is Godspell.
Yeah.
I call that Jesus Waves. Let's see. That was Music Man, which I grew the worst mustache in existence for. I really should have just used some spirit gum, but no, I had to grow it myself. Awful. And my good buddy Charlie over there on my left, you're right. Janine loves this one.
Yep.
Dick still hasn't recovered from this. Into the Woods. Yep. This is backstage at Country Jukebox, which was just a couple of years ago. Backstage at Country Jukebox was always awesome because Charlie and I would just start jamming and all of us would sing harmony on all of these songs that we knew. So it was really, really great.
It was so much fun.
And then I think the next one is the last one. And I think Amy Powers is really going to love it. There we go. So a little bit of background. A little bit of background here. That lick on Amy's face, I was playing Spider, who was the pimp, and Amy was one of the two female leads. Jekyll and Hyde, yes. Amy was playing one of the two female leads, who was one of my prostitutes. Apparently, I had many. And Peter said there was this time when I'm supposed to lean into her and say something to the effect of, "I shall come to you at midnight for my pleasure." And Peter says, "Hey, do me a favor. After you say that line, just lick her." And I think he thought, I'm positive that he thought that I was just going to give it a little lick. Yeah. And what I did was put the entire flat of my tongue against her neck and lick all the way up to her cheek.
Yep, Amy's still in therapy because of that.
Yes, she is. And I'm proud.
Court on that.
Every show I do with you, Jesse. I just realized that. I was in Godspell. I was in
every show
all the jukebox shows. I was in Jekyll and Hyde. I'm following you.
What?
Stalking you.
Well, no. Regardless of the restraining order that I had 7 years ago, but you still keep. I don't know.
I know. I still do it. Yeah. Well, my
so
first
if anyone wants to continue.
My first show was in 2001, so I'm the newbie here at 19 years at Fountain Hills with Shenandoah, and I had just moved from Utah, where I'd done a show in like a 1,000-seat theater, and I came here and I auditioned. I thought, how in the world are they going to do Shenandoah on this tiny little stage? And Peter pulled it off as usual. We did it. I mean, we were sardines, but we did it.
I
remember that set, Peter?
Everybody having to climb through the set that was stored backstage. You had to climb through it to get out on stage. If it wasn't being used at that moment, that was. And I
was playing a pregnant woman, so I had a big belly and I had to climb.
That's right.
Yes.
I don't always get to see the backstage stuff, and that's fun. I would have given good money.
It was fun, but I kept coming back, so it must have been
the Zell thing while pregnant padded. That would have been.
Yeah. So I don't know how many shows I've done. It's been a lot, and I just I love working with Peter and Noel and at the theater. It's the best place to work in the Valley, and I love it. I just ask everyone to please donate, because I plan to do that as soon as I'm off this call, and want to keep this theater going because it's the best one.
Thank you.
The magic turkey. The magic turkey.
Hey, Val, when did we do 10 types? Was that 94 or 95? Come on, get your list. Come on.
I think it was 95. I think it was 95.
95?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I did. It was 95.
Oh, look at a picture.
And I wore that skirt in Shenandoah.
Yeah.
The Derby.
Costumes for something to get a history of all the shows they've appeared in.
Yeah, and Jesse's wearing a couple of my dresses.
And then he wore them on stages too.
I was wondering if you were going to go ahead and do that joke.
You can't dangle low fruit like that, man.
Yeah,
Come
I was
on.
going to if you didn't. So I'm glad
No, I had to do it.
you got me on that. Yeah.
A lot of those costumes were in my basement. I had a thing called Alter Ego, and I rented them out every Halloween. I rented costumes, and then they all went eventually to the theater when I couldn't stand it anymore. And then also a lot of those clothes came from my parents, my grandparents, and every once in a while, to this day, I'll sit in the audience and I'll see my grandmother's coat or my dad's jacket, and it's a very cool feeling. It's
Well, that little settee that was in your bedroom as a teenager. Is that right?
you know.
That's been in more shows than me.
That's been in a lot of shows, and actually, you know that hat rack you use all the time. That you use it constantly. Randy built that.
We built that. Yes. Yeah.
And we have used it so many times. And the wooden boxes that are so strong you can put an elephant on them. Yeah. Randy built those. That was back in the school when his daughter was involved.
Yeah, and they're still around. We still use them. Yeah.
Yep.
We never throw anything away.
Well, with our budgets, how can we afford to?
Well, we started throwing away nails. You know, we used to use the same nails and screws until.
Oh yeah, still do.
I don't. No, this is something. We have quite a history, and we've won a lot of awards. We have a lot of Ross and Peter Noel Outstanding Contribution Awards from the Arizonis.
Hey, I think we all got one of those, don't we?
I got one of those. And,
I don't.
Oh, come on.
Don't rub it in, Ross. I don't have one.
Oh,
I have outstanding contribution to never being able to find a costume to fit him. Well, I mean, I'm a little bit better now, but when I started, I was like 6'4" and like 155 pounds.
You were 39 extra long. Oh my God.
Yeah. And then we had to take it down, like extra long, and then let down the additional 2 inches that were in the sleeves.
It was very difficult.
My dress shirt was like a 15 neck and a 38 sleeve. I'm sorry. I didn't have to like sew on an extra sleeve at the end of it.
For a Q-tip is what it was.
and then the third arm was a hard thing to have to costume for too.
I watch it.
Yeah, I just kept it tucked.
Up the back, and that would come out once in a while to scratch your head. It was really interesting to watch that. I miss you, Jesse. I like to make fun.
I miss you too, buddy.
We've had some amazing talent. Amazing talent.
Oh, thank you.
It's
been a lot of fun.
And you know what else is fun is watching the kids that have grown up from little ones who were shy and afraid, and then all of a sudden they blossomed, and they now doing main stage and beyond, and the romances that have begun on our stage. Some have endured and some have not, but we have had some great friendships, great love affairs, great. I don't know. We've touched a lot of lives, guys. We have touched a lot of lives,
and a lot more touching to do.
Yeah, we're not tired yet.
Ross, I don't know if that's something you want to say.
Well, I mean,
plan for next year.
in a platonic sense.
Clears up a little bit this summer, and we'll start coming back in stages. And hopefully by September, when we come roaring out of the gate with our new season, we're going to be back and producing great shows. We're not done by any stretch of the imagination. We keep talking, because we've been around for so long. We're tending to look back and go, yeah, remember when? But it's not remember when. It's still happening.
I want to make new memories.
We're still building. We're still producing more shows than anybody else in town. And for those of you who are out there, we're always open to new talent, both on stage and off stage. We love having people come out. We're an incredibly welcoming theater, and we hope that when we come back from this pandemic, and we will, that we're going to see everybody out here. Everybody.
Does everybody know what our new season's going to be?
Michael will tell us soon.
I'm sure he will. Oh,
It's a musical version of Contagion.
I want to give just a really quick plug, and I should have done this earlier, but companies like Virginia Piper, Cox, American Express, the town of Fountain Hills, Boeing, SRP, there have been so many corporations, LTAF, Lottery, that have supported us over the years and helped us to take each little rung of the ladder to build to where we are now. That, like I said, Fountain Hills Theater started with $500 in the bank. And if it weren't for corporations and individuals and the support and the love that has been shown to this theater, we would never have gotten where we are. We would never have gotten Peter and Ross on staff. And the ideas could not have swarmed no matter how, whether over coffee or scotch. Those things would not have happened if it weren't for those companies and the town of Fountain Hills, and the people, you people. So this pandemic is going to hurt a lot. I know that summers get tight. Being nonprofit, we barely make it through summers. If you have anything, $20, $10, whatever, it adds up. Please support this theater. It's in really good hands now. This theater is in really good hands now. Michael, thank you. You are a godsend, and you share a vision, and you share the love, and you share the dedication. And my complete support is with you, and my complete reaffirmation of this theater to what it was and what it should be and how much more it can grow. But it's going to have to get through this virus.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you guys were all here tonight. This has been for me, it's just been so fun to learn about all the history and to see you all light up and remember what great times you all had. I mean, theater is a family. Any of us that do theater, the first day you meet your cast, the next day you think you can't live without them. It's just, that's the atmosphere that is in theater. And I have felt that since I came here a couple years ago, almost 3 years ago, and did Chicago and worked with Noel and Peter and just fell in love with this place. And all of you have been so welcoming and great to me, and I really appreciate it.
We love you, Michael.
We're going to make theater now. Let's do some theater.
Yeah.
We can get these doors open.
Oh, we will. We will.
The audience is clamoring for more from Noel. Noel, you've been out talked by all these loudmouths.
Sorry, what the hell is she doing there? I kind of came along by default because back in the early days, even though he charged them an outrageous price, I didn't. So they could get me at a reasonable price to choreograph, and then over the years I've kind of gotten suckered because somebody found out I knew how to sew. And now with costumes or doing costumes, and good Lord, I even ran lights for the last show we just did.
I know.
Wow. So kind of, I'm the Gopher Lackey choreographer. But I love this theater. It's always been home. I have worked at other theaters, believe it or not. I swear to God, even without him. And but this is kind of like home base. And even when we had our dinner theater, it was like, well, I'm engaged to Copper State, but I'm married to Fountain Hills. So
we love you, Noel.
thank you.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Fountain Hills without you, Noel. That's for sure.
Oh, thank you.
No.
All right, guys. Well, I guess we should wrap it up. For those of you who are not out there who are not interested in Fountain Hills, we apologize. But for those of you that do love Fountain Hills, this was, I'm sure, the greatest hour of your lives.
You now know more about the theater than you ever
wanted to.
And we didn't touch on some of the stuff. We didn't even touch on what it took to move into the new facility back and forth. Oh my God.
2 more hours.
Yeah.
We do. Okay.
Many
Plan
nights.
a couple more of these.
I slept in that building many nights.
Wow. Oh, Noel did too, only she had Javelina joining her.
Yeah.
I know. had the door open in the summer, and the javelina came in the lobby, and I was sleeping. And they stole chocolate off of the desk in the little office.
Stay tuned for Fountain Hills Theater promo. Act
I'm
2.
standing on the back of what we had there, a sculpture hanging on the wall to get him out of the theater. He finally comes over at about 4 in the morning because I fell back asleep. He goes, "Let's go home." And we're sitting here eating chocolate.
I thought you were a lunatic.
He was Halloween in the lobby eating the chocolate. So there you go. Yeah.
There are pigs, and they're eating the chocolate.
I always had chocolate on my desk. And the Halloween knew it. Aw, Jenny B.
The mayor
That's
would
right, Jenny.
not be interested in Fountain Hills. Thanks, Jenny. As long as you're the
Love
mayor,
you, Jenny.
we're interested.
Oh my lord.
Gotta miss you guys.
Miss you too.
Missed you too, buddy.
I miss everybody who wrote in. Hi, guys. Yay.
Yay.
Me and Deborah and
Hey,
Kathy
Deborah.
and Crystal and who else was there? Deborah and
Hey.
Debbie.
Tim and
And Roy.
yeah, I said one.
Roy was identifying as Debbie for.
Yeah,
No.
seems apparently he has to explain when he gets home.
Yes.
Oh, and Jay.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to wrap it up, but it's been so great to be here, and
Oh.
Hey,
Thanks, Michael.
can we do this just
it's
for
good to
fun?
see everybody.
Yeah, let's just do this for fun. Let's just get together and
Yes, we can do it for
party.
I just stay 6
Because
Good
we
with
do
me.
it face to face. 6 feet apart, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can stretch across with the
Yeah.
Scotch bottle, or everybody
Someday.
brings their own.
I'll bring the plexiglass.
All right, guys.
Yes. All right, Michael. Thank you.
Yes.
Love you. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Michael.
Everybody take care.
I love you.
Bye, guys.
Love you
See you
guys.
guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Love
Boom, boom,
you.
boom, and boom.
Oh, we're still here.
Oh, we're still here.
Oh, I'm still here.
Oh my, that was a bunch of craziness and fun. I'm so glad everyone who tuned in tonight, and those of you who watch it later will certainly enjoy these really fun night of all these great memories of things that have happened here at Fountain Hills. And we hope you'll tune in. We do have a great season that's coming up starting in September. We're opening our season with Beauty and the Beast, and there's 6 musicals, 9 shows altogether, 3 plays. Our season tickets are on sale right now. You can go to our website, fhtaz.org. We do have a discount going on for the month of April, so you've got about 6 days left to get a discount. You save $100 off the price of tickets for the whole season. If you buy the full season package, it's just $200 for 9 shows. It's a great deal. So please check it out, fhtaz.org. Not to be missed. So tomorrow night, Saturday at 7:30 p.m., we have another musical cast reunion lined up for you. It will be the cast of Mamma Mia, which opened our season this past year. All of the lead principal actors will be there, and a few surprises, some music. It's going to be lots of fun. So please tune in tomorrow night. And I just want to remind you that we have rescheduled Patrick Russo's show, his Liza Minnelli transformation. And that is going to be a week from tomorrow on Saturday, May the 2nd. So that night's going to be a big fundraiser for the theater. So please tune in, and we hope that you'll donate to Fountain Hills during his show. He's going to do his full transformation as himself. And by the end of the live show, he will have transformed into Liza Minnelli and will do some lip sync numbers for us. So it's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to have some friends along with him, lots of stories and laughs. So please remember May 2nd, next Saturday. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Have a great night.